Your father passed when
My father
you were
passed
young.
early. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you tell about how that happened, what happened, and how that impacted?
I think that probably had more to shape my ministry, had to do with shaping my ministry than anything else. He got sick when I was 10. He was a very big, robust sort of a man, very hardworking, strong work ethic sort of an individual, my superhero of sorts. He got sick, his blood pressure went up to 290 over 280.
Wow.
Shut down his kidneys. He had renal failure. They were in the early stages of dialysis. We were one of the first people in our area to start dialyzing, initially driving back and forth to Cleveland, Ohio. So I grew up in trauma, in crisis. And my mother was driving my father back and forth to Cleveland Clinic twice a week.
Twice a week.
And then we got our own kidney machine. And to be honest with you, I could run a kidney machine and couldn't ride a bicycle.
Well, my goodness. Because you were 10 years old when
Yes.
he was sick?
Yes. Okay. So my whole focus was about taking care of him. And so he lived till I was 16 years old, and then he passed away. And I think it, as tragic as it was, and it was tragic for me, it was traumatic because he died in the confusion of my adolescence. In the turmoil of who am I?
It's hard enough to be a 16-year-old.
Absolutely.
If everything is wonderful.
Yes.
But to have that happening.
Well, when you have that sickness in the home, it becomes the centerpiece of the family. And everything else has to be built around that. And you have to take a subordinate role because of the crisis. So being raised in crisis shaped my perception of what was important. And in some way or another, I have always been taking care of hurting people all my life. And so it is my default setting to go into that zone, whether it is spiritual pain, physical pain. All of my life has been in some way a caretaker. So ending up a shepherd of a church kind of makes sense for me. But it was the absence of my father and the aching void and the deep abyss of my confusion and alienation that created a thirst to find something to fill that chasm that he left. And I think that caused me to have a ravenous approach to God.
How do you explain that it didn't cause you to have a ravenous desire for drugs or for anger or bitterness? I mean, or did
I passed by all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, on the way to Jesus. Yeah.
You waved?
Yeah, I passed by all of that on the way to Jesus. The thing was, there was a call on my life when I passed by those things that was disruptive and disturbing and unrelenting. And I knew that I was here for a reason. I saw glimpses of my future, even before he died as a kid. Going to hear my mother speak, I would tell her, right now, I'm going to hear you speak, and they call me Miss Jake's son. The time will come, you'll come to hear me speak, and they'll call you Tom Jake's mother. But I didn't know I would be a preacher. I just knew, I saw glimpses of myself.
You could see that.
And yes, in front of a crowd and talking to people. I've always been fascinated by people. And I started out in church on the piano, playing for the choir.
Really?
And yeah, God tricked me. I thought I was going to be a gospel artist, but as I grew into the music realm, I noticed that people got more blessed over my introduction than they did my song. And I thought, maybe I need to scoot over a little bit this way, And I started carrying my Bible when I was in high school, the latter years of high school, and they started calling me a boy preacher.
Did they?
And I was carrying my Bible, trying to find. At moments I was trying to find God, and to be honest, at moments I was trying to find my father, and suddenly I realized that they were the same. Yeah, that he was not this supreme being that didn't have the capacity to be intimate. That he could be my father, that I could climb up into his arms, and that I could tell him my deepest, darkest secrets, and that I could trust him.